Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our competitive analysis and strategy. In this session, we will focus on types of strategies, okay? So far, we have moved to what was an objective, no? We mentioned the characteristics of the objective, the pure, the clear, and the SMART model that is commonly used, and of course, the importance of establishing them correctly so you know what the company wants to achieve, and of course, in what period of time. But now, let's talk about the strategy, okay? The strategy needs to define or needs to answer something that is no how. How do I plan to achieve, okay, that objective? One objective could have a relationship with multiple strategies, but be careful because not all strategies fit in the right way to an objective. Maybe they can contribute up to a certain moment, but there are strategies that are more efficient than others. So let's take a look to this topic. What is a strategy? Okay, first of all, as I mentioned, it tries to answer how I want to achieve the objective. There could be multiple ways. Just think about if the objective is to increase loyalty. What are the things that you can do in order to get that result? Okay, just analyze. Another thing is that the strategy needs to have a relationship with the resources, okay? Because you will be using resources such as time, effort, money, and of course, your clients. Your clients are attracted to that. It's not the same to apply the strategy maybe to senior people than students, or maybe people that like to go to the gym. Each strategy is unique and has to be tailor-made based on, of course, what is more interesting and appealing for that client in particular. And of course, here it says that multiple strategies could relate with a single objective. Just be careful because as many strategies you want to apply, you will also need to supervise those strategies, and of course, those strategies will have an investment related. Be careful of not using too much, otherwise you might be compromising the profitability of the objective itself. And of course, remember that if you use many strategies, okay, you will also need to take more time in order to evaluate them, okay? Next, what do I need to know about strategies? First of all, and it's common also with objectives, they need to be clear, okay? Try not to make too much words, okay, but to define if something is clear enough, okay, for the counterpart, for the person that will be executing the strategy, okay? Another important, why, okay? When you are being paid or when you contribute to a strategy, they will ask you, how did you get to this strategy? Okay, why you are using strategy A instead of strategy B? Well, you need to really justify your idea, and not because about your perception, but because there's actually primary and secondary information that is sustained. Remember, primary information is the one that you do specifically for that project. That means, for example, if you do surveys, interviews, kind of like the information that you're taking at first hand. And the secondary information is the information that is already existing, okay? Kind of like if you visit INEGI or if you visit any website that is reliable and you take part of that information, okay? Maybe the population size, maybe what certain clients like or dislike. So you're using something that wasn't created by you, but of course is reliable and updated. And of course, remember that your strategy, and as I mentioned previously, will translate into money, effort, and time. So be careful about going extra limits, okay? Each strategy needs to be coherent, congruent, and of course, you need to take the time to execute them correctly. And of course, be creative. Here is where we are gonna define if something is creative or not, because maybe it's haven't seen in the market, maybe the way of how you're proposing it, it's well enough, okay, and of course is attractive for your customers. So remember to evaluate your strategy before executing and putting a lot of money into that strategy. Okay, that's why it's commonly used and recommended to use pilot test. A pilot test is the one that you run in order to check if in a small amount it's going to create the impact that you want. Here, let's analyze some strategies that has been applied for companies. Here we can see that then putting your name, okay, that Coca-Cola used at some point, definitely that create an attractive way of showing that you can personalize and there's a relationship between you and the brand. Also, the KLM, which was an airline, that they saw that during the holidays people stay long periods in the airport. So what they do is that they create a very interesting way of approaching and of course celebrating those holidays. I would suggest you to take a look to that video, okay? And last but not least, Starbucks and the stars, okay, the rewards in order to increase and maintain loyalty. Okay, you know that there are multiple ways, but particularly for Starbucks, that's the way it has worked. Okay, and of course, what are the general purposes of a strategy? Maybe you want new customers, maybe you want to keep the customers that you have, you want to reduce maybe an error that you committed in the past, maybe you want to increase your revenues, but be careful with revenues because it's not the same revenues than net income. Okay, just remember that and remember your finance classes. Another thing, it's about your customers and the characteristics. You want to to make people remember your product, and of course because you're launching a new one. Those are like the general purposes of why do we establish an objective. Okay, another thing is actually that there are specific types of strategy. Here you can see single and related business strategy. Maybe in one you just establish one product or product line, okay, and you define that one as the most, okay, of your whole business, kind of like Coca-Cola does. No, they have other brands, but Coca-Cola is the original. And the related business strategy, here we can see that you're offering several lines, product lines, and those ones are related maybe with hygiene, what P&G does. Okay, so we can see that they have a lot of brands, and of course they are kind of related to the same topic. Last but not least, we also have the vertical integration, in which we go backward or forward. Usually if you want to get closer to your customer, kind of like what the supermarket does, in which they create their own brands, okay, kind of like Great Value, okay, the one or the ones that produce like Soriana. And the backward, okay, in which you become your own supplier, like what McDonald's does, okay, or other company does, in order to keep the quality and of course to have the same, okay, a better price at this point. And of course there's also the horizontal integration, in which we have they acquire the competition. It's not like, for example, when Facebook bought Instagram, Bimbo bought Wonder, and of course Soriana bought Comercial Mexicana. Okay, so this will be it for today. Okay, thank you very much, and remember that if you have any questions, please let me know via Brightspace or using your email. Thank you very much and have an excellent day. Bye bye.